Welcome to the Jam Yearbook. I'm Jim.
And I'm Matt.
We're here to take you on a journey through the years as we explore the music in our lifetime and the impact it's had on us and the world we've lived in. Matt, enough of the stock intro, though.
Yeah, Jim, move it along.
Yeah, we know we finished part one of 1991 without choosing our 10 songs. Why is that? Because we initially take 5, but we can't just take 5. 1991 was such a big year. We've each added 10 songs. We polled the audience ahead of the show and will reveal their choices as well as we go through.
We had to give 1991 its due and split this up, or it would have been too long of an episode for everyone to just sit through. I'm sure Jim would have had a friggin' migraine sitting through and editing all this. But once we had decided to add so many songs, it was a lot to get through. Even after all we went through, though, it still feels like we missed some things.
It does, yeah.
I don't know, Jim. Here's why I have a little trouble. Do I go with what was popular and relevant? It's really hard sometimes to come on and be genuinely excited about a song I might be fatigued with. With 1991, there was so much good stuff coming out in a very short period of time. The some band slow burned into 1992, and we can't really pick that stuff when we cover that year.
No, because it was
So-
released in 1991.
yeah, exactly. So it's going to be hard when we cover that year. But part of that slow burn for me was grunge. It was such a departure from what was big, and I just had to give it the side eye for a little while. You know me, Jim. I'm always going to give the side eye. I'm going to poke holes in it, try to hate on it. It's a little distrust on my part. Maybe I got to seek therapy. I don't know. Oddly, though, when listening back this week, I came to realize as much as I loved it, when I finally gave into it, it's just some of the music I don't reach for now.
Oh, I definitely relate to that. And I'm going to confuse people now because if they knew me in the 90s, say friends from the 90s that are listening to the show now that I haven't seen in, 20, 30 years, I was completely caught up in that scene. But I think I listened to it so much, I really at this point only like it in small doses. There are some friends of mine out there that if they listen to radio, they want to listen to 1990s alternative rock all the time. That's our classic rock for our generation. I can't
Yeah.
I can't do that. That doesn't work for me. I downloaded a 1991 grunge playlist and had a hard time getting through it. It was great in its time and it served a purpose in life for me, but so did music in past years and in future years.
We have 1991 on a pedestal, but I don't think that pedestal is as high as any of the other peaks
Mm-mm,
that we have
mm-mm.
going, looking at our past and our present and our future. Also, Jim, we got 30 songs we got to get through. That's why we got part 2 of 1991, because besides covering everything that came out, we wanted to give 10 songs apiece because we couldn't decide on 5.
No,
So it only
no.
felt fair to give 10 to the poll. And that's what we did. We opened up the poll on Facebook. We said, hey, everyone, here's your choices. What do you got for 10? So, Jim, I'm going to let you start us off. And what is your number 1 song?
I am going to start off with, classic hip hop. The band's called Black Sheep, and the song is The Choice Is Yours. The entire album that this song is off is great, but this song will stand the test of time. No matter how many years pass, it still sounds fresh to me. There were a lot of rap artists that were getting a lot of attention in 1991. Gangstar, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, and maybe deservingly so from a creative standpoint. But Black Sheep, this is my kind of hip hop. The beats, the samples, and the flow, they're all incredible to me.
Oh, yeah. I thought this was a new song to me until I hit the refrain. You can get with this, or you can get with that, or you can
Yeah,
get with this.
yes.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. I had that great moment where, fuck, I knew this song. I just didn't know the name of it.
Who the black
So,
sheep? Where the black sheep? Yeah.
you know, my kids are into rap and they've gone back and to get into 90s hip hop a little bit. So it's given me a new appreciation for what I missed, what was going on when I was younger. Back then, hip hop, it was jazzy It had some swing. I miss these beats. You know, they had that old school kind of scratch sound going on in the background. It's classic.
Right? And how many of these early hip hop guys can say they got sampled later on in the 90s by Fatboy Slim?
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's the kind of hip hop that's timeless. My second song that I'm gonna bring is from, well, we talked about it in the very end of the first part of the episode. U2, not necessarily your thing, but it was for me at the time. Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses? I bought Actung Baby the week I got dumped by a long-term girlfriend. You know how those albums work out for you.
Yeah, they're rough. They're
Yeah.
rough.
I think I intentionally bought it just for something to listen to in the car. I needed a distraction, something to go around in my head that wasn't everything I'd been thinking about. I spent hours driving around town like Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything listening to this. And this was one of those rewind and listen over songs off of the album. My head was left as empty as a vacant lot for any spirit to haunt.
Oh, breakup songs are
Yeah.
great therapy. When you get an album like this and you would just hit a song randomly that, you know, clicks with what you're thinking at the time, I'm sure you may have cried a little bit when you first heard this song, when the words kind of, you know, sunk in. Music is therapy, and I don't think that can ever be understated.
No, it is. And then we have a poll song, and that is Lenny Kravitz, It Ain't Over Till It's Over. This is a great first poll song. Thank you, everybody. Instead of funky rock, Lenny hits that smooth, silky soul sound. The bass line in this song actually educated me as a bass player because the progression descends, but the bass note stays on the root note as the
Oh,
progression goes
preach.
down.
Yeah,
It's a masterclass in how minimalism can sound bigger on bass.
I love that song so much.
Yeah.
All right, my number one is going to be Big Audio Dynamite and Rush. When Mick Jones was fired from The Clash, he wasted no time in putting together his own band. It's a forgotten gem. It starts out nice and catchy, goes off into nowhere land. When you hit the middle of the song, it's like, what the hell is happening? But then it comes back around and it all just fits together.
The middle section of this song is inspired. It's
Yes, it
so
is.
cool. And then it sounds like as it kind of hits this spot where you're thinking, okay, instrumentally, musically, this is going to finish and fade out. It flawlessly jumps right back in.
Yeah, the drum comes back in. It's like,
Yeah,
bam,
the main
bam,
chord. Yeah.
bam. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Great
great.
song.
It is.
Thanks for agreeing with me, Jim. All right. My second song is going to be Anthrax and Bring the Noise.
It's 1991. I'm going to agree with you on most music.
I know, I know. Anthrax, they are no strangers to the rap game. They teamed up with Public Enemy for this cover. This will hopefully prove I didn't just listen to cheesy hair metal.
That's so cool. You still have Flava Flav and Chuck D in there as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely. And this version, it was so great. I like it better than the original Public Enemy version. And I like a lot of Public Enemy, but this song is probably what actually turned me on to checking out more of Public Enemy stuff. So yeah, Anthrax, Bring the Noise, bass, how low can you go? Yeah, you can't beat it. It's so good.
Oh, great goddamn song.
Yeah.
And then we got our poll song. It was Guns N' Roses. No problem. Yeah, thanks for bringing me this song, Jim. I really appreciate it.
I put this in the notes for Matt to take this song.
Yeah. Matt, you talk about November Rain. You know my challenges with Guns N' Roses. But hey, you know what? I would be lying if I would say there are parts of the song I didn't like. Usually it's Slash's solos because I dig the way the guy plays. I'm not going to go into my Guns N' Roses challenges, but there is no denying this was a smash hit in one of the bands that pushed grunge back into 1992 a little bit. Jim, I know you really love the drum fills on this one.
Yeah. Matt, you have heard me rant about the drum fills before. Seriously, it's drum fill, not drum
Yeah.
fills.
Dun,
boom,
dun,
boom, boom,
bum, bum,
boom,
bum.
boom, over and over and over. Nice. We did that right in sync.
But it wouldn't be the same without it, I guess.
No, maybe not. But yeah, the guitar solo in this is probably one of the best of the 1990s. So I get to bring the Tragically Hip song to the show. I feel kind of
Yay.
honored to do this, Matt. You talked a lot about how great some of the songs off of the Road Apples album were, and I'm going to bring the song Little Bones. How great was it for us growing up in the Northeast Kingdom and getting to share the Tragically Hip with all of our Canadian neighbors? Road Apples has so many great songs on it, you've already pointed out, but this is the one I spent the most time singing at the top of my lungs driving around in my parents' car.
Yeah, we kind of rock, paper, scissors for this one. You won big time. But I will say, we all win because it's going on the playlist.
Yeah.
This song, that opening guitar riff, great way to open an album. And Gord is always great to sing along with. The guy's a genius. Love him. There's also one thing that I meant to bring up when we were talking in part one of 1991. The Tragically Hip, they were one of hundreds of bands affected by a fire at Universal
Oh,
in
yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
Yep, hundreds of thousands of master tapes were destroyed. The Hip, initially, they had wanted Road Apples to be a double album, but Universal, the parent company of the record studio, said, nah, let's not. But they already had the songs in the can. Luckily, though, six of these songs were rediscovered and re released as Saskadelphia. It's an EP, it's only six songs, but it's more new, Tragically Hip for us to love.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So if you're like us, you're a fan of Road Apples, there's more to check out.
And then my next song, as Matt hijacks my section here, is Ice T's New Jack Hustler. And another cassette I owned in 1991. I had a very diverse music collection, if you couldn't tell by now. I left it in the tape deck of my parents' car by accident. And when I got out and my dad got in and drove away, he came back and said, I don't know what that music was, but don't let your mother hear it. Ice T didn't hold back on profanity. He definitely, there's a lot of
Not at all.
cussing in this song, as most of his
There's an
songs.
attitude there.
But this was also the main theme to the movie New Jack City. So it was all about crime and drug deals and getting blown away and, everything we could relate to growing up in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. I just love the rap flow. It was good beats, good music. Maybe how your kids like rap music today. This is what I was getting into at that point in my life in 1991.
Yeah, but Ice-T was feeling every word that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
There was a presence to him. Today's rappers should study what was going on in the 90s. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Masterclass.
And then there was a poll song, and it was the Divinals, I Touch Myself. That made the poll.
Jim, did you touch yourself back then?
Yeah, I was 18 to 19 years old, so probably as much as I could.
Like anybody else. Divinals, such a great band. I wish I had given them more time back in the day. It took me to now to listen to more than just that one song. They got a lot of good shit out there.
I own this cassette too.
Oh,
Yep.
great stuff.
Yeah. Yep. All right. What's next for you?
All right. So a group I mentioned back in part one, Crash Test Dummies. They had a song called Androgynous. Another cover. Yes, it's a cover of a replacement song, but they improved it. And that's one of the things you got to do with a cover. You got to make your stamp on it. They gave it more definition. Vocal layers are incredible. And lyrically, Androgynous is ahead of its time for 1984, 1991, and really to a lot of people now.
Covers need to do one of two things for me. Either be so close to the original, as a listener, it shocks you at how well it's been pulled off, or it takes the song to a different place and the new interpretation of it actually makes it better.
Yeah,
The
I
cra-
get that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Crash Test Dummies pull off the latter part of that, no doubt. They make that song better. I agree with you.
And then my next one is Queen with Headlong. This is classic Queen, and it belongs in the list of their best songs ever. I don't care what anybody else says. What am I going to say that thousands upon thousands of others haven't already said? Queen is easily one of the best, most imaginative, and talented bands ever. And this is 1991. We had a Reaper visit for Freddie Mercury. Even after all Freddie Mercury had been through, he is giving more than just about anyone ever has or will.
Yeah, he was the quintessential front man. And this is a song I wasn't really familiar with. It fits right in with all of their older stuff. I listened to it before we did this show and I really liked it. I don't think I was exposed to this where I was at the time.
Oh, that could be too, because I remember I would listen to Show 'em FM up out of Montreal, and they played this album quite a bit.
Yeah, and when I'm running around dancing to MC Hammer and Marky Mark,
Mark and Mark.
yeah, this is what's gonna pop up. So good choice.
Yep, and then we had a poll song, which is REM, of course, "Losing My Religion."
Yeah, lyrics of Michael Stipe had a lot to do with empowering me to morph into who I would become as an adult, and this song was almost at the top of the list. It wound up getting a bit overplayed and worn out over
Yeah.
time, I think, for a lot of people, but, come on. You can't deny it's a great song, and as a poll pick, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, no matter how fatigued you may be with the song, you can't deny the importance of it at the time.
And next, I get the pleasure of bringing the first Pearl Jam song to the list. I say first, that might be a little, uh, you know,
You're leading the audience,
ah,
Jim.
the song I want to bring is Porch. This song absolutely still gets me amped up today. You know those songs that just give you an adrenaline rush and you get goosebumps if you hear it at the right time?
Hell yeah.
This is one of those songs for me. I love a song that has a good breakdown in the middle and then comes back and rocks out even harder through the end. And the MTV Unplugged performance that came out of this a year later was as inspiring to me as a young musician as anything.
And it doesn't hurt that Eddie Vedder is a hell of a great lyricist.
Oh, he really is.
He doesn't even finish a thought. Within one run of the melody, there's a pause before finishing the lines, and it doesn't even fit a rhyme scheme. It's very freeform. This is a great song.
Yeah, it is. It's my favorite Pearl Jam song. And then I'm going to bring as my next song on the playlist, and it's Enya. How can I keep from singing?
What?
What better way to follow up Pearl Jam? It's a fucking gorgeous song, dude.
It
It's
is. She can fucking sing,
it,
man.
but I don't really like Enya. I'm not a big fan. I've never listened to albums of hers.
Okay, but no, go on.
Okay.
I'll add.
This for me is a funeral song. And to be honest, I didn't even know this was an Enya song. I was obsessed for a short while with the Steve Martin movie LA Story. In the end, he
Good
wishes,
movie.
yeah, in the end, he wishes for the whole world to stand still so he can run and catch up with his love that's about to jump on an airplane. And it has all these great cinematic tools used along with the music, and it's absolutely beautiful. And you know how much of a sap I was back then. I was researching
Yeah.
for the show and I looked up the soundtrack because I knew I loved this movie. And I was surprised and also probably not surprised to discover this was Enya. I understand it's Enya, but I can't walk away from 1991 no matter how strange it seems. How can I keep from singing? This is a beautiful song and I can't take away from the fact that it was Enya.
No, you and you shouldn't. And you know what? I'm gonna say something here that will support you. Um, one of the things I really like about Billie Eilish right now is the control that she has when she's singing,
Hmm.
and I find a lot of parallels with Enya. If you not even really, you don't have to deeply pay attention to how or what she's singing to realize the restraint that she's singing with and the control that's a talent.
Yeah.
Throw away your preconceptions of what Anya is and just listen to the voice. And you'll be like, that's powerful.
For me, this song also comes down to the lyrics. No matter what is up and down, one way or the other, how can I keep from singing? And it's about maintaining a positive outlook on everything. And I think that spoke to me quite a bit during that time in my life. But wait, Matt, I will redeem us because I'm going to bring the poll song right now, the one that everybody's been waiting for. And that is Smells Like Teen Spirit. I'm going to sandwich Enya between Pearl Jam and Nirvana.
Wow, you just gave me an adrenaline shot.
Oh,
I dig it.
yeah. Well, we could hear people getting sweaty and reaching for the rotten eggs and tomatoes. So we have to bring out the most probably recognized rock song of 1991. If it weren't for Smells Like Teen Spirit, the world might not know about a lot of the music we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's impossible to not include the song that got the ball rolling. We both admittedly don't listen to grunge much anymore because we outplayed it. We're fatigued with it. But this is probably in our lifetimes one of the most historically important songs.
Yeah. And there are moments where I still can listen to songs off Nevermind and Smells Like Teen Spirit and enjoy it. It's not completely lost on me. I still love In Bloom. I still love Come As You
Yeah,
Are. On a
all good shit.
Plane. Yeah, we can keep going. All right, you're up.
All right, I'm going to move us forward with White Trash and Apple Pie. This is most definitely going to fall into the category that I was talking about in part one, where it's something that's obscure, that probably is a song for one or two, being my brother, and three, Chris. It's a song that I'm obviously going to be selfish about, but I love it. I was really disappointed that White Trash didn't catch on more. Because I really thought they would, because I was seeing their video played back to back with Metallica and her Sandman. And this song has such a great energy. They're not Red Hot Chili Peppers, but they kind of fit in that category. It's a funk, it's a rock. And everything gets its moment in this song. Bass, guitar, horns. Like I said, it rocks. It funks. And I really got lucky in remembering that this was from 1991, because if I had left this off, this was going to haunt me forever, Jim. I really loved this song.
I had never heard of this, but it was a lot of fun. When I'm listening to a song and immediately start imagining about how fun it would be to play on bass, it hooks me in. So thanks for adding that to the playlist because I don't think I would have ever heard it if you hadn't. Good stuff.
And then my next one is Dell, the Funky Homo Sapien, Mr. Dabalina.
Mr. Bob
I
Dylan.
didn't hear this song till a couple years
Mr.
after it
Bob
had been
Dylan.
released.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great song, until like 1993, because I didn't hear it till I went to college. I had so much fun with the song, with a lot of great people that I still think about to this day, including my wife, Kim. It's not the dorm anthem that you probably had with Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Jim, but it's because of those memories. It's got this sentimentality that I'm including it here. And I have followed through with what Adele has done, and I dig the guy. He's great. I really like what he's done.
Yeah, yeah. You've talked to me about Dell's music, out with this show. Dell was 18 when he recorded this, and it was
Oh,
co-produced by his cousin Ice Cube. I agree with you. The track just sounds great and it grooves great. Good
yeah.
song.
Listen to the Gorillas, you'll hear Adele.
Yeah, that's Dell and the Gorillas.
And then we have a whole song. We're visiting back to Pearl Jam and, of course, Black.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure we weren't leaving 1991 without having multiple Pearl Jam songs on the 1991 part of the playlist, and especially Black.
It'd be easy to have at least 3 more off this album. We're
Yes.
missing Alive, Jeremy, and Even
Oh,
Flow.
oof,
And yeah,
gr-
yeah,
what a great album.
it is. And that just speaks about how amazing it is, as we talked about in the last show. All right, so I'm gonna get to my next song, and it is the Smashing Pumpkins. Look, you know how much I talked about loving their debut album, Gish, in the last show. It is
Mm.
Bury Me. I think that Gish is a more complete album than Siamese Dream and Melancholy. It kind of flows together sound wise from beginning to end. It's easier to listen to. And yeah, Bury Me, it has a relentless bass line, a kick ass guitar solo, and Jimmy Chamberlain's drumming may have been better than any other 90s artist. I know a few drummers that I played with back in those days that would tell you now that Jimmy Chamberlain is in their top 5 drummers of all time.
Jimmy Chamberlain is severely underrated as a drummer.
He was just as much of a sound of the Smashing Pumpkins as Billy Corgan.
Yep. Because you don't realize it until it's missing.
Mhm.
And then it's like, no, that's not the way the drums go. Oh, why? Because Jimmy Chamberlain ain't fucking playing those
Yeah, exactly.
drums.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That guy is awesome. And you're right with Smashing Pumpkins because Siamese Dream, great album, breakthrough. But Melancholy was a bloated piece of junk, right? And when our band's going to listen, less is more.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my next song is Seal, Violet. This is from the Seal debut album. I
Wait,
love
not crazy?
Crazy was a big hit and a great song. I don't disagree with you. I like the music from the entire album, but for me, Violet, once again, it was about the lyrics. And yeah, Matt, like I think there's a theme here with me, kind of with the ballads or some of the songs about recovering from getting dumped. But I love the lyrics. I understand you need a change, but when you make that change, don't look to see I'm all right.
Yeah.
Damn it. Why
Oh, hell
did
yeah.
ex-girlfriends have to call to see how I was
Oh,
doing?
oh my God.
Steele
Yeah.
got it right in this song. Give me some time and space. I'll be okay. Wait until we bump into each other again. Don't call me a week later and ask me if I'm okay. I'm probably not. And any ground I gained just got knocked back a bit.
Yeah. Don't screw with me past tense. Just
Yeah.
deal with me in the moment.
Yeah. His first lyric on the song, I watched you comb your hair in a different light. And it's a way of just
Oh.
seeing somebody differently.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's a great visual if you listen to the lyrics of what it feels like to make a relationship shift.
Yeah, because you can hear those lyrics and think about it, on the surface. But when you think of it, in regards to a breakup, you're like, "Oh, shit, that's a little bit different."
It is, it's tough.
That hits.
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
hits. And then I'm going to bring a pole song and shift us into a good place. And it's Jesus Jones right here, right now. My first concert was with you and your brother Mark. We went to NXS in 1991, the same year. That I think it was sometime in the spring of this year.
Yes.
I have a lifetime of gratitude to both of you for that experience. But my second concert was Jesus Jones at Club Metropolis in Montreal.
Oh, what a great club.
Yeah, it's a great place. It was my first club concert, and I think that's why I like small venues.
There's an intimacy
There is.
that you cannot beat.
And yeah, right here, right now, that's a one-hit wonder by Jesus Jones, but it was a good song that captured the era.
Yes, I would agree. All right, I'm gonna move ahead with my songs, and because Jim, it's all about me, I'm gonna say Matthew Sweet, and Girlfriend.
Oh, Jesus, girlfriends again. Here we go.
Yeah, Girlfriends. I'm just haunting Jim. If you don't remember this one, obviously Jim does. Just put it on, and as soon as the guitar starts, you're like, wait, I think I might know this one. But as soon as the vocals hit, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I know this song. There's a hell of a lot of guitars in this song. There's like three different distinct guitar parts.
Yeah.
Underrated and a little bit forgotten, but Matthew Sweet consistently put out good music in the 90s.
But this song was also, you talked about it in the first episode about buying a car and being able to drum on the steering wheel. This is a song that if you were driving down the road, you were also, if you weren't air guitaring to the solo and everything,
Oh,
you were
yeah.
drumming on the steering wheel because it's percussively, it's great. So good song. What's your
Yes.
next one?
Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. The Sky is Crying.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Sentimental favorite. Because he had passed away the year previous. They had recorded this song earlier and a couple times in the 80s, but it never really made the albums. It finally saw the light in 1991 on the album Sky is Crying. I can get lost in Stevie Ray Vaughan's solos. I don't care if they're half hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour. I don't mind at all. This
Yeah.
guy's amazing.
Anytime you can put a Stevie Ray Vaughan song on the playlist, do it. Do it. Just do it. Over the course of the show, please, get that done.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan, he rules. And then our poll song ad is, hey, Primus, everybody agreed with me from part one. Jerry was a race car driver. I am so happy the song made it. Primus is great, good fun.
Yeah, me too. Dog will hunt. So good. All right. I will get on with my last two songs, and I'm going to start with the Butthole Surfers. You heard me right. The Butthole
Yeah.
Surfers. If you've never heard them before, well, maybe you want to go check them out, maybe not.
Yeah, or other than Pepper.
Yeah, the song is The Hurdy Gurdy Man. This is probably an ode to all of the good weed I smoked back in 1991, or a year later. I've been going on about lyrics so much in this episode, and it's almost impossible to decipher anything being said in this song. The Butthole Surfers are staying true, though, to the original version by Donovan, released in the 60s, because if you go back and you listen to that, you can barely understand him either. This song, to me, is about the mood. It's a feel. Sonically, it just hits something that always brings me back to it.
I would agree. Butthole Surfers, great band.
Yeah. And then I'm going to finish my 10 off with Toad the Wet Sprocket. The song is I Will Not Take These Things for Granted. Back to being sappy Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you. This is
Yeah.
a great song.
When I thought I was going to write and play songs on acoustic guitar for the rest of my life, I listened to the album Fear by Toad the Wet Sprocket on endless loops. And here's Jim being Jim from 1991 again, talking about it. I spent a lot of time with this song in my most pensive moments. Doing this show has really helped introduce me to some of those forgotten songs that I loved back in the day. And this is near the top of the list for me.
I couldn't agree more. I think this is an underrated album for 1991.
Yeah.
Great choice.
I think we look back on some of these albums and we know what the hits are. We own the album, the hit, the hit, the hit. And then we see a song and we go, wait a minute. That was the song that actually reached out to me off of that album. And that's what this song was for me.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to listen to it for it to really hit. You
Mhm.
can read it in a list. You don't really remember what it meant to you until you just put it on.
Yeah.
Listen to it. You got 4 minutes of your time, put it on.
Put it on. And then the poll song, surprisingly, I actually intentionally put this in the notes on purpose, is another Toad the Wet Sprocket song. Happy to have
Oh, it's
it.
a 2 for
It
Tuesday, folks.
is. And it is Walk on the Ocean. We got another
A
Toad
hit.
song. Yeah.
A
Great,
hit.
great choice, people. Yeah. I'm happy to have that on there as well.
Awesome. I'm going to move us forward with Tesla, another band that we talked about in part one with What You Give. You said it back then. This song holds up. It's a hit. People who think that Tesla was a hair band, you're missing the point. They're not a hair band. Just listen to them. It's good, just good rock and roll.
Yeah, it's great. But if they're gonna get lumped into hair metal, and this is how hair metal goes out in 1991, like if this to me could be the end of it, it's great. It's a peak. It's so good.
All right, I'm gonna finish my 10 and our 20 with Soundgarden. Jesus Christ Pose. This at first, Jim, I'll be honest with you, I was going to have Tom Cochrane's Life is a Highway, but Life is a Highway didn't make it from either us or the poll. That speaks volumes. Doesn't belong. Jesus Christ Pose, great song. The music is so tense and frantic, and the singing, it's dragged out a little bit more than the music is. Then the guitar comes in like an alarm. It's building up this tension even more. Matt Cameron, great drum, and he doesn't just play a beat. He plays with what the music needs. It's
Hmm.
awesome. And of course, Chris Cornell's wailing. That's always going to win for me.
Yeah, it's so good. Regarding my hair metal comments earlier, for some reason I said I didn't take the Soundgarden right away. And I thought Chris Cornell still had that soprano falsetto voice that drove that hair metal genre, but I was so wrong. In retrospect, I can see that sometimes first impressions are weird.
Hmm.
I really grew to love this song in Soundgarden as they went on through the 90s.
Great band. Our last song from the poll is Red Hot Chili Peppers in Under the Bridge, the song from the album that made the Chili Peppers a household name. And ever since, Jim, can you remember a time when the Peppers weren't relevant?
No.
They've never gone away
No,
for
they haven't.
like
Yeah.
really extended periods of time. Prashanti's come, he's left, he's come back, he's left, he's come back, but they've always remained a draw.
Yeah, I went and saw them last summer at a stadium that seated probably about 30 to 40,000 people here in Scotland.
You proved my point.
And this is where it's weird in this show because Matt and I are trying to pick songs that we loved in 1991. And I'm sure that there were some that we reached for that were out with 1991 and some we didn't. And people are screaming at us, why don't we have more Pearl Jam?
Why
What
is
is
there no
up?
Metallica?
Like, where is Metallica? I talked about Sad But True earlier. Nothing else matters. There's got to be songs that still belong on the playlist that we didn't bring up. We brought our personal favorites here, and we gave a lot of these songs as options on the poll. And, this is what we have come up with. The poll had 20 songs to choose from. Matt and I, we each had 10. We hope you've enjoyed the ride. So I've got to say, I am actually impressed with the audience poll. They had to whittle that out of 20 songs. And at least I get the honor of bringing Enya to the list and not them.
No, Jim, I bust on you, but hey, Enya's a welcome addition to the playlist. It's good stuff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Even if you didn't take the time to listen to it.
Or mean my previous comments.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it. That's our 1991 all wrapped up and done. So I think we have 10, or we'll say 11 because we carried this over as
Mm.
a further episode. But it's now time to move to what we're going to do next.
Yeah, I think we got to do a cleanup. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things we missed, maybe regretted not bringing up, or maybe regretted bringing up in the first place. And I think we probably got to hit on that with maybe what we'll call a cleanup.
Yeah, I think we should do that. We will cover the first 10 years that we have covered. Maybe find a way to fit in a couple of these 1991 songs onto the playlist.
Yeah, that's probably more If I were to say selfish, that would make it sound like we have to go to therapy. So I'll say that's the driving force. Yes, in a driving episode.
I think also it gives the audience an opportunity to add some songs that are missing off the playlist. So we'll give it to them as well.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think I wrapped up the last show, so it's your turn to wrap up this one.
All right, yeah, we're gonna leave it all for the cleanup. We're gonna take what we've kind of missed, what we maybe regretted talking about and over exploding, what we liked in the first 10 episodes. We're gonna call it our cleanup.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot of fun to go back into those years we've already covered and think about, well, what we missed because what we gave ourselves 5 songs apiece for the first 9 episodes, and we've got 10 for this one, so maybe we can get a couple of more in for
Mm,
each year. It'll be a good
a
time.
lot of
So,
music we missed.
yeah, it'll be good. So, is that the end?
That's the end. Jim.
All right, that's the end. So go find our playlist on Spotify. You will find the songs we have added this week from 1991, along with the 9 previous years we've already covered. The playlist keeps growing. Matt, all good?
All good on my end, Jim, and we will see you here back next time for our very first cleanup.
Yes, we will. Peace, love, and podcasts.